So we're here at day 2 of the government conference at the Comas Hotel, and it's now sort of the lunch break here. You mentioned the sandwiches yesterday. You're going to go and get some?
Well, I only got a few yesterday because I was busy interviewing ministers and various other people. So it would be nice if there's one left.
Okay, perfect. So you've been here all of this morning. What's gone on today? Have there been any big announcements? Any shocks? That was the first thing I asked you yesterday. How's it been today?
Well, possibly the surprising thing for me was the presentation from the Treasury Minister, which didn't actually tell us an awful lot more than we already knew. It was kind of rehearsing or revisiting discussions that had already been had in relation to the budget, things like this. So we didn't learn anything really new, I didn't think, from the Treasury Minister. Maybe he'll be pleased to hear that, I don't know, but it certainly, well, again, his summary at the end was, I'm not here to make big announcements. If I've got big announcements to make, I'll make them to Tynwald. I'm not, I wasn't convinced of what we were getting out of that particular presentation. Andy Ralphs, on the other hand, the new relatively new anyway, Chief Executive Officer of Isle of Man Government, gave an interesting presentation followed by workshops in relation to the future shape of public service delivery. It's an incredibly difficult thing to do, that he's been tasked effectively with modernising, I suppose, streamlining the public service, making it more responsive, and that's a hard thing to do. Again, various questioners pointed out that 25% of the island's employed people work for government, so that's an awful lot of people, and you've got to try and change the whole structure of the system that those people are working for. Everyone will have their own little ideas about how their particular area should work, and somehow, as a new head of the service, Andy Ralphs is going to have to find a way in which he can turn that whole thing around. So it's a big task, but he certainly has the enthusiasm to deliver it, and he also had a few little jokes in his presentation too, which is, I think, is always a positive sign if people are prepared to be add a bit of humour into what they're saying. So that was good. Yeah.
And then after that, we obviously had a presentation from Justice and Home Affairs Minister Jane Poole-Wilson. She was talking about keeping our island safe. That led on to, we've just actually come down from a panel Q&A, which kind of reverted back to this talk and got a bit heated. I mean, did she make any big declarations there? She was sort of talking about strengthening borders and things, wasn't she? The common travel area in particular. Yeah,
and again, I out of the actual conference, I had a chat with the Chief Minister, actually an interview with the Chief Minister, and he was pointing to the fact that there has been quite a lot of concern across the island about some issues surrounding immigration, and this is effectively council ministers demonstrating that it is responding, it is listening to what people are saying, and whereas I'm not convinced there was an awful lot new in what the minister was saying, that certainly the minister is demonstrating that the things that government has in place are in place, and that they are trying to make sure that the services are improved. We had a very revealing presentation from the Immigration Service head, the head of Customs and Immigration, Sandra Simpson. Again, some of the questioning that came from the floor demonstrated that there are people who are working on the Isle of Man who rely on being able to travel. They're struggling in relation to the visas that are presented to them. So there are changes that are required there. Lots of concern from the floor about where the actual people coming into the Isle of Man, how is that controlled? And that was certainly some fairly heated discussion about that, about why government isn't doing more. Of course, government will. The response is it's complicated. There are lots of issues you have to deal with. There's a common travel area, and you can't impose extra standards on people travelling from the common travel area. You've got to be careful how you deal with things like that. So yeah, interesting mornings discussions, both inside the conference and those discussions I had outside as well.
Perfect. And then the last one just before the break was about inward migration. But again, that was very much a report that we got in July. And actually, I wrote our article for Manx Radio, and it was very much what was in that report, but being presented to the public. So we've not had any major shocks today so far, but you're looking forward to then this afternoon, the Chief Minister closing things out. Yes.
And I've had a little bit of insight, I think, from the Chief Minister, and certainly the interview that I've done with the Chief will play out on one of the prospective programmes. Basically, the Chief Minister is keen to be able to demonstrate that he is delivering, that his government is delivering for the Manx public. And we revisited the concern that he has in relation to the overspending in the health department. Again, I sort of pushed the Chief a bit on this and said, is there a future in the Council of Ministers for the current Health Minister? And the Chief Minister gave the Health Minister his full backing and said, yes, of course. So hopefully these tensions that appear to have rippled to the surface are merely the inevitable tensions of trying to square circles when it comes to limited government finances, and Council of Ministers will be back on track and raring to go when they get back in October.
Thank you for making it to the end of the Manx Radio Newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.